Welcome back to Meet the Mets fans. Justin and I here with you guys on the pod today. Mets lose a heartbreaker to Pittsburgh to end this series. But we are here, episode 34, to recap the Pittsburgh Pirates series. Obviously, you heard from us game one and our thoughts on opening day. We'll dive into these next two games. Justin, how you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, it's weird. I should be happy, right? The Mets took 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh. It's a nice home opener, home opening weekend. It should be all good in Metland. But I gotta say, it was a bad loss today, right? And I know it's game 3. I understand all of those things. We'll dive into like what happened in this game a little bit later on in this pod. But overall, obviously, we can't be unhappy with it. But when you got an ace like Nolan McLean on the mound going into a series in which you won the first 2, you kind of expect like, hey, this would be a nice little sweep to start off the beginning of the season. But hey, we'll take 2 out of 3. Right, no harm, no foul going on over here. But yeah, overall, yeah, we got to be happy with what we've seen so far with not just the offense, but we saw the last couple of days with the pitching really kind of stepping it up.
Yeah, man. Let's jump right in, Met fans. This will be a quick episode, hopefully recapping, unless Justin and I start diving down rabbit holes. We'll see where it takes us. But
Oh
let's
yeah,
start
we're
with
going there.
Saturday, right? Let's start with game 2 of the Pittsburgh Pirates series. We had the Mitch Keller versus David Peterson game. And as we made predictions about how this series was going to go, I kind of said, I believe that David Peterson is going to step up and be the guy that he was in the first half of last year. And for the most part, he was, right? He ended up throwing into the 6th inning, 5 1/3 innings in total. It wasn't beautiful stuff out there. He wasn't striking out the world. He gave up 6 hits in this game. He walked 2 batters. So that there was traffic on the base paths consistently for David Peterson throughout this game. He struck out 3 batters. But
Mhm.
what he did was he threw up zeros. He matched Mitch Keller throughout this game, throwing up zeros for the entire time that he was out there. Honestly, as we were getting into the game, the first big thing that I thought to myself was, I'm kind of surprised that Brett Beatty isn't at first base in this game. But the Mets kind of threw out the exact same lineup, exact same batting order, defensive alignment, and Polanco was over at first base. And, the defense of these two new guys that are learning positions, Polanco and Bo Bichette, we saw it in this game where there's still growing pains here. There's still some learning curve going on. We saw Bo Bichette make his first error on a play that Jorge Polanco wasn't able to save him on. He threw the ball again. This is the 3rd time this season in 2 games where he makes a throw over from third base and he pulls Polanco off the base. The throw is down the line, and unfortunately, finally he makes an error, which really Polanco has saved him 2 other times from those being errors. Am I ready to shut down this experiment? No, not necessarily. I think Bo Bichette's going to get a long leash to learn third base. But when it comes to Polanco over at first base, I like to see Brett Beatty there. There's no reason not to. You can DH Polanco. He's not going to be offended. He was a DH for a long time. So
Mhm.
I'll digress here. Brett Beatty does get in there in the next game on the game from today, the Sunday game. But I'd like to see more Brett Beatty. So, Polanco also made an error in this game, or a couple of miscues in this game that he definitely, a better defender at first base, would have been able to hold things down.
Yeah, I know that we have like our big takeaways from this series coming up. And one of my big takeaways is when David Peterson's on the mound, Brett Beatty should be playing third base, right? David Peterson's a ground ball pitcher. He's someone that, and specifically right because there's going to be a bunch of righties in there against Peterson. And so these righties, they slam the ball on the ground constantly to third base. It's a ton of plays. It's a ton of traffic that's going to be happening with Bo Bichette. And again, I'm not saying that we need to get rid of Bo Bichette or he shouldn't be our third baseman. But early on in the season, as he's getting kind of his legs underneath him, I think Brett Beatty should be the third baseman when Peterson specifically is the pitcher on the mound because of how many plays actually go to third base. And we saw it again. He was shaky, right? There was a play, again, like he made the out, but he's moving to his left. He winds up taking it on the backhand, but it was like right in front of him, right? It was just a weird looking play. There was no reason. He moved his feet well. He was there positionally, and then he turned his glove to take it on the backhand when his glove should have been on the forehand. I don't even understand what he was doing there. And again, he made the play, so I'm not going to kill him on it, but he just doesn't look natural over there right now.
Yeah,
So it's definitely an issue.
I hear you with what you're saying, and the reason I'm saying I'd rather end the Polanco experiment much sooner than the Bichette experiment is because I think Bo Bichette is gonna eventually like, he's gonna be the third baseman unless he's absolutely terrible for an extended period of time. The only way he's going to get better at making those plays is by doing it in a game, right? Like, he
Yeah.
can practice all day long. It doesn't make a difference if he doesn't do it in the game, and so, those game experiences where he's getting the balls hit at him consistently and he's gonna have to not think about it, just naturally react is the only way he's gonna develop that. So I don't know if I agree that I want him out there. I know what you're saying. Brett Beatty's clearly the better defender.
Yeah.
I'm 100% in agreement with Brett Beatty's the better defender. But if we're agreeing that Bichette is going to get the majority of the time out there, especially later on in the season, this is the time for him to make those errors, right? This is the time for him to learn and grow. We can't have him doing that in August, September, October. God forbid he's out there still making those same types of mistakes. You got to let him get the reps right now.
No, again, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be out there. I'm saying that we still want to win games here, right? And so a pitcher like Peterson specifically, where there's a bunch of righties that are going to be in that lineup that are going to hit the ball so much to that pull side, specifically to third base. That's what he is known for when Peterson is going well. He's inducing ground balls. And so that's where my head's at with all these things. I'm not, I know that
No,
he
I
needs
hear
the
you.
reps. And I saw he was out early Sunday morning, right before the game, taking additional reps over at third base. But for Bo Bichette, clearly, I think like his defense is getting to him a little bit offensively. I think right now he is so focused on defense and making sure that he's learning this new position that we're seeing right now that trickle into his offense right now. As he was, he had a terrible series offensively. Let's call a spade here, right? And we'll get into that a
Yeah.
little bit later on as well.
And he heard it, right? Met fans let him
Yeah,
hear it. It's early Met fans. I don't know if I'm there booing Bo Bichette just yet, but he's hearing the boos. So
yeah.
I clearly don't speak for all Met fans. There's a lot of Met fans out there that are not giving him the time of day to figure this out. We thought we were getting a 300 hitter who doesn't strike out, and what we're seeing consistently is this dude striking out 2 to 3 times a game. So right now, the defense hasn't cost the Mets a game necessarily, especially not in game two, right? In game
Mhm.
two, obviously, we get a win. And
Yeah.
had we not gotten this win, we definitely harp on this more. Let's jump back into game two. Peterson pitches into the sixth inning. Huascar Brazaban takes over. And, I appreciate Mendy allowing Peterson to try to go out there for the sixth inning. I think he really did want to see Peterson try to get through that sixth inning. He gave him a pretty long leash to be able to do it. But after Peterson goes out and gives up a second hit in the inning, this one to Nick York, Mendy made the decision to pull the plug. And I think that was the right time to pull the plug. So I'm going to
Mhm.
commend Mendy in that moment. I'm about to turn on Mendy in just a second, but I commend him in that moment for giving Peterson the chance. He taps on Brazaban to come in. I thought that was the right move as well. Brazaban comes in and dominates, absolutely dominates. He
Yeah.
strikes out Joey Bart on 3 pitches. The next pitch, to Joey Bart on 3 pitches, that's second out. Jake Magnin comes up, 1 pitch to him, grounds out. He's out of the inning. It's now the seventh inning. Where is Huascar Brazaban? He's out of the game. I don't understand it. I'm literally sitting there saying to myself, I hope this doesn't come back to bite us in the ass. And I just knew it would. Like, it was 100% one of those things where it's like, this guy has thrown at least 2 innings. He's a guy that can throw 3 innings. I've seen him come out for a fourth inning at times last year. And I'm not saying he needs to go and do that, but there's no way you take him out after 4 pitches. You have to let that guy go back out there for the seventh inning. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to bite us in the ass. Hopefully it doesn't. Let's see what ends up happening, right? So the bullpen deals the rest. Did you want to jump in on that, Jess?
No, I was going to say that, game that's nothing. It's a chance that it's going to go to extra innings. And so if you can squeak out an extra inning from one of your
100%.
relievers who just threw 4 pitches, that makes total sense here, right? Like, and I know all these guys are rested right now, but it was a nothing game. It was freezing cold out there. Brazaban already just got himself warmed up. He clearly came in throwing strikes, looking good. I'm with you on that. Like, there was no reason to pull him at that point in a nothing game that potentially could be going to extra innings when you're going to need those high leverage guys in the extra innings, specifically with that rule of the runner starting on second base. You can't be throwing out Dickey Lovelady out there. We'll get to that, right?
Yeah, we'll
When
get to it.
you have that runner starting at second base, you need guys like the Weaver and the Devin Williams that are able to go into those scenarios that can strike guys out, that can get big outs, that can maybe limit whether it is 0 runs or 1 run when there's already a runner in scoring position and no out.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I was shocked that Brazoban got pulled,
Yeah.
but he got pulled, right? And I'm like, this is it. Like all of last year, I thought Mendy mismanaged this bullpen consistently, and this was just another opportunity for him to mismanage the bullpen, and hopefully, I was hoping it didn't cost us. So the game continues. The bullpen does deal, right? Like the next few guys that come in, we deal. There's still a nothing game until we get to Garcia, who comes in. Luis Garcia comes in the 10th inning now.
Right.
And I'm like, why in the world is Garcia in this game? If you didn't pull Brazoban and you let him go out and throw at least one more inning, right? You then move Devin Weaver, you move Weaver back at least one inning. You move Devin Williams back one inning, and now he's the one that's throwing in the 10th inning. And
Right.
maybe you shut things down. But the Mets end up going to Garcia because they wasted Brazoban. He threw more pitches warming up. Brazoban threw more pitches in the bullpen and warming up on the mound than he did actually in the game. So he gets pulled. Now we've got Garcia on the mound, and this is a guy that all offseason I kept saying this guy shouldn't be on the team. He shut me up for a little bit during spring training, but this is he's going to be the first guy that Met fans turn on, and this is exactly the reason why. He screwed up in game 1. Now he's out there in game 2. I'm not going to call it a screw up. No earned runs allowed, but he gave up a run here. I know it's not an earned run because of the Manfred man. Nick Gonzalez is standing out there. He ends up coming in to score, but it wasn't like he scored on a base hit. Garcia didn't look good at all. He gives up the run, and then he allows a walk, a hit, gets an out, another walk. Like he was not, it's not like he was out there dealing the entire time and that, just gave up a base hit and the runner on second scored. He didn't have it. He didn't look good. This is the second time he's gone out there and he didn't look good. He ends up giving up this run. Now the Mets are down. And I'm thinking, we lost. We lost because Mendy mismanaged the bullpen. And then we get to the 10th inning, right? Where the drama happened. The bottom of the 10th inning, and the drama goes down here. Marcus Semien comes up. First bit, he gets hit by a pitch. Mark Vientos pinch hits for Carson Bench. How'd you feel about that, by the way? Vientos
Yeah.
hitting with bench.
Not that I was like crazy surprised. I believe it was a lefty on the mound, right? In that scenario,
Yeah.
right? So they're pinch hitting for Benj in that scenario for Vientos. Vientos goes down. It's either 0-2 or 1-2 on that count. I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this guy's gonna strike out now. But to give him credit, right? He finds the hole right in between third and short, right? And so he's able to keep the line moving over here. And I'm thinking right at this point now, this game is good, right? Like we got this. And at this point, when Vientos gets that single, I'm thinking to myself, we got our guys coming up right now, and we're gonna be able to like lock this up.
Yeah. It goes to a 1-2 count, then it's another ball, so it's a 2-2 count. He gets the hit on the
Okay,
fifth pitch.
it goes 2-2. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I know he fell behind in that at bat, no doubt.
Yeah. So I mean, I was nervous, and everybody knows I'm the biggest Mark Vientos fan. I'm nervous that he's there.
Yeah.
I actually, if it were me, Benj would have hit, and then I would have pinch hit with Mark Vientos right afterwards.
Yeah, it was interesting he did it there because then in, today's game, and we'll get to that in a little bit, they had Benj going into, I think it was the 8th inning, again, against a tough lefty. It might have been the 9th inning at that point. Again, the game was tied. And he let him pitch and he let him hit. Now, there was 2 out, no one on. So it was weird that they let him hit in that scenario, but not for yesterday. So I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
either give this guy the opportunity or don't give this guy the opportunity, right? Like, if you're going to allow him to hit against the lefty, let him hit against the lefty. Otherwise, put Vientos in those late innings scenarios.
honestly, maybe Mendy said, I know that Mark Vientos is the guy that steps up when the pressure's on. We saw it all of 2024. Let's give him a chance to do some damage here. In Mark Vientos' last spring training game, he did hit that home run. Maybe he can parlay it into something. I fully
Yeah,
expect Mark Vientos to be in the lineup on Monday.
he will.
He definitely will. So Mark
Yeah,
Vientos comes up.
they already announced like Luis Robert is going to not be starting, and so they'll have Benj in center or Taylor in center, right? And they'll like kind of like alternate throughout from there. But Vientos will definitely be in this lineup, I believe.
Yeah, I think Brett Beatty's going to play right field.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Vientos will probably DH with
yeah,
Polanco over at first base.
right.
So Vientos ends up getting huge hit. I'm kind of shocked that the game isn't over right there, that the run doesn't score, but they end
Yeah,
up holding, who's it, Brett Beatty? Brett Beatty gets held up by the
it
third
was.
base coach, right?
Yeah,
I'm shocked because I thought Beatty could score on the play. However, it's probably the right move, right? You stop Beatty there, bases are loaded with nobody out, right? And you've got Francisco Lindor coming up, Juan Soto coming up after him. You are thinking to yourself, I don't need to take the risk that Beatty gets thrown out at home because I've got my big hitters coming up right now. We're going to win this game. And I think all of us had that emotion of we're gonna lose this game in the top of the 10th inning, so we're gonna win this game in this moment right now with Lindor coming up and Soto right after him. And I'm saying to myself, there's no way. There's no way we don't lose this game. And then Francisco Lindor dribbles the ball out. We get the force play out at home. The Mets end up challenging the play on Marcus Simeon. He's clearly out.
Yep.
And then the
Soto,
next
same thing. Yeah.
Soto, like he check swings. He check
Yeah.
swings, taps the ball over, same play,
Crazy.
ball's coming home, and the Mets end up with 2 outs now, bases loaded, 2 outs. And now I'm saying to myself, if we lose this game, we don't deserve to win. You don't deserve to win a ball game when you've got the game tied, the winning run at third base, and nobody out, and your 2 best hitters are coming up.
You got the Lindor, Soto, Bichette coming up. It was I wanted to turn the TV off. I'm like, we're good, right? Everything is fine here. I don't need to even watch this at this point. I know we're going to win this game. Everyone in the stadium is packing up. They're like ready to go. It is 30 degrees, probably feeling like 20 degrees there. It was so cold on Saturday. I couldn't even believe that happened.
Can't believe
When
it.
Lindor didn't get it done, I said Soto's going to do it. He'll hit a fly
100%.
ball in the left field, right? I know that he will. He's good with staying in on a lefty. He'll definitely take the ball the opposite way with a fly ball that's going to be deep enough. I couldn't believe he checked his swing on the first pitch. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Totally unbelievable.
crazy. And
And
then
then Bichette flies out. And again, like a lazy fly ball to right field.
I hear you, but that lazy fly ball, if it happened to Juan Soto, we win the game.
Yeah, it's
Right,
lazy
right.
at
Like
that point.
Bichette,
That's a big hit at this point.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got to pick your
Bichette needs a
teammates
hit.
up.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you
hear
got
you.
to pick
I
your
hear you.
teammates up.
I hear you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fault him. I'm gonna fault Lindor and Soto. They should have done it. But whatever. We don't score. It's now a tied game. We're going to the 11th inning. And guess who comes into the game, guys? It's not a top reliever. For me, right there, I would have been going to Sean Manaea, right?
Yeah,
Like you have Sean
I agree.
Manaea in the bullpen. I'm not
Mhm.
throwing Dickey Lovelady in
Yep.
a situation where we can still win this game. I'm
Yeah.
throwing Sean Manaea. You should have thrown Sean Manaea to start the 10th inning, to be honest
Yep.
with you. But Sean Manaea is sitting there in the bullpen, not being used, and Dickey Lovelady is on the mound. Now, Dickey Lovelady, for what it's worth, I think did a decent job. He ends up giving up 1 run, but it was different than the Garcia's inning, right? Garcia didn't look solid, right? Dickey Lovelady comes out there, and you know, I'm not giving this guy more credit than he deserves here. He did a decent job. He ends up giving up a single, a run scores, and then he shuts down the rest of the inning. Luckily, right? Like he keeps the Mets in the game by only giving up the ghost runner to score, and then didn't look shaky from that point forward. The Mets then come back up in the 11th inning, which totally sets up all of the heroics. Right?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable game. Unbelievable game. So now what happens in this inning? Jorge Polanco walks, which I believe was
Yep.
like his 3rd walk of the game at this point.
Yeah. He had like
Right?
5 walks in this series, and Polanco is not known as someone that gets on base like that. He is not normally someone that works the count, that draws walks. He's not like a Soto type of player. And the fact that he had 5 walks in this series, Luis Robert actually alluded to that at some point yesterday, talking about how he's able to see a bunch of pitches as the on deck batter, and he credits a lot of that to Polanco for him getting good looks on this series.
Yeah. So he comes up, he walks, and then Luis Robert does what we all know he does, right? We all seen it. If
Yeah.
you haven't seen it, then there's no way you're watching this podcast because
Right.
you're a Met fan. You've seen it somewhere, whether it's on social media, live in the game. Lou Bob does his thing, hits a bomb to left field, and walk it off for the Mets. And the Mets end up winning, going up 2-0 on the series, win the series, chance to sweep it. And Justin, like the emotions that happened from the end of that game, from the 9th inning on, it was incredible baseball. Incredible baseball.
Yeah, well, you didn't even mention the dribbler so the way that Pittsburgh scores in that 11th inning is a dribbler down the line that just hugs the line and just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. And in my head, I'm thinking, we're not meant to win this game, right? That's the way that they scored their run, is this little dribbler down the third base line. I was like, we're going to lose this game right now. That's crazy. The baseball gods are saying, sorry, Mets, this isn't going to be today. But luckily enough, Luis Robert, he does what he has to do. He takes a breaking ball and he smokes it to left center. That thing was crushed. And that was a windy day on Saturday. I don't know if any Met fans listening to this pod right now, if you were at the game on Saturday, you'd be able to speak a little bit more about it. But I heard it was unbelievably cold. Like real feel was like 20 degrees. It was windy. It was nasty. It's going to extra innings. It basically was a nothing game the entire way. So it's boring. boring. Fans are just sitting there. Nothing's really happening. But if you stayed around for that, that's an exciting moment. And Luis Robert, I had a great series.
Well,
A
let's hear
great
exactly
series.
what it sounded like right after the game.
Yo, what's up, Meet the Mets Fan Podcast? This is your live reaction from Joey Bo. We're here at the stadium after that cold game. What a very cold game. But too many men left on base. 2 for like 13 with runners in scoring position. Mendoza mismanaging the bullpen yet again. But somehow, some way, this team walks it off. I asked for a double, and Lou Bob hits a walk-off bomb. LFGM, that is the vibe.
Yeah, man. Love that. That's awesome. That's a fan right there, staying that entire way in that freezing cold, giving us a little shout out on the pod. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely love
That's
that.
our guy Joey Bo handling the fan reactions there. He had to cut off part of that video. Justin, you saw you saw the raw footage. There was some more things
Yeah.
said after that.
We're family
Not
friendly.
appropriate.
Family friendly here. All right. That's what we're trying to be over here. So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Not from Joey, from the people around him.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But hey, that's an exciting win, one that I'm sure feels really good for Luis Robert, someone that has struggled the last couple of years with Chicago. Met fans, half and half, yes, they wanted him, half saying no. He had such a great series, and for him to be able to have a walk-off like that, that's already an embracing moment for Mets fans, and so that's really nice to see. I know that that's got to feel good for him. Obviously, it's just one game, but that really, I'm sure for his own ego, right, and all that stuff, I'm sure that felt pretty good for him. So, all right, so we're now up 2-0 in this series. Okay, we're at a place right now where we're playing with house money. Let's call a spade over here. If the Mets sweep this series, that's unbelievable. But the goal of every single series is for you to take 2 out of 3. And so you got McLean going on the mound against a guy that we butchered his name all day, right, on Friday. None of us knew how to pronounce it. Molodinsky, right, whatever the heck his name is. But man, that kid looked pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you. He was a rookie last year, he mainly out of the pen, but he also started some games. And I got to say, the Mets came up in that first inning and he struck out the side. They came up in the third inning, again, top of the order, Lindor, Soto, Bichette. He struck out the side in that inning as well. And so this kid was throwing the ball really well. In terms of Noah McLean, who, for all Mets fans, I know that when he is pitching, I think a lot of us are circling that calendar. A lot of us are trying to tune into those types of games because we want to see the way that he threw. And so it's almost a situation where a couple of, obviously, years ago when DeGrom was as dominant as he was, when he gave up a run, I think it was shocking to Met fans, right? We would come out and be like, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, dominant performance. And a lot of Met fans would be like, wait, he gave up 2 earned runs? Like, that's crazy. I'm pretty surprised by that. And so for Nolan McLean, when he does give up runs, I think it's like a little bit shocking to it. But overall, McLean threw the ball really well. Now, in that first inning, he had tough time throwing strikes. And so he was missing a lot of times on his arm side. His ball was running away from him. And that's where his natural cut actually is on his 2-seam fastball. And it seemed like early on, he walks the first 2 guys. O'Hearn then has a little blue pit to left field. The Mets are down 1-0, like out of nowhere. McLean's able to settle down over after that, though. He's able to get through that inning. And then we kind of saw him kind of get into a little bit of a groove. I think he retires the next 6 after that, where he's kind of pitching a little bit better. He's pitching more to what we've a little come accustomed to. And again, his stuff is nasty, right? Like when you're looking at it, it's moving so much to a point where I know that Diaz had this issue a couple of years ago where his ball moves so much that he was unable to throw strikes with that. And so we're seeing that with Nolan McLean, where the ball is starting out in the outer half if he's up against a lefty, or an inner half if he's against a righty, and the ball is tailing away. He almost needs to start that ball like a third of the way into that plate and allow it then to cut out onto that corner for his 2-seam fastball to be really effective. And so he's missing by a little bit early on, but he was able to kind of settle down over there. So the Mets are down 1-0 early on. Again, the offense, right? We got Luis Robert once again continues hitting the ball hard. He started that rally that lets Marcus Semien hit a fly ball, a sac fly that the Mets wound up tying it 1-1. I saw on the broadcast today on SNY that for Semien, that was his strength last year, right? Runner on third, less than 2 out. This dude gets the runner home about 70% of the time. Now, in this game, he was 1 for 2, so a little bit less. He was 50%. I know he gets it done in that early on. He comes up again, though, I believe in the fourth inning. It was very similar. Luis Robert gets a single. Brett Beatty then follows with a single. We have now first and third in this area. I think it was 1 out. Simeon winds up striking out. It doesn't get the runner home. I believe that was in that fourth inning. But we can't kill him for that. He did get that early on run for us. So right now it's 1-1. And then Brandon Lowe, once again, continues to crush the Mets. Every single time this dude was up, I'm saying to myself, yeah, I think we should walk him, right? Like, honestly, there was many scenarios where I'm like, yo, why are you even pitching to this guy? There's not many guys right now that are hitting for Pittsburgh. This guy hits another home run against us, against Noah McLean. It's the first home run that Noah McLean gave up to a left-handed batter in 9 career starts so far. So Brandon Lowe is locked in clearly. Every single time he was up, he hit the ball hard. Later on in this game, we saw against Sean Manaea, again, a piss missile right to second base. Simeon makes a nice play on that. But that could have been, again, another RBI single for this dude. So in terms of McLean's overall start, he gets through 5. He's got 8 strikeouts. Not a lot of hard contact off of him, though, right? Minus the home run from Brandon Lowe. All right? Like, that ball was smoked. But overall, right, like 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, lets up 2 runs. But again, one of them was like a blue pit with 2 walks and then a blue pit. Overall, playing, what do you think, Stefan? What do you think of his outing so
Uh,
for
Listen,
today?
I'm not nervous at all about Nolan McLean. It was again, it was warmer than Saturday night, but it was still not a very nice day outside, right? Like it was okay. And I think going out there early on in the season, pitching in the cold, he's definitely going to be able to find that command that we expect to see from him. He didn't look as sharp as I think we hope that he's going to be on a regular basis. The one thing that does stand out to me is the home run, because not because of the home run itself, but the fact that in the WBC he did give up I think 3 home runs in the 2 games that he pitched in the WBC. This is a guy that didn't allow a ton of home runs at all last year, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on. With Nolan, he clearly has a lot of pitches. He believes in those pitches and his ability to command all of those pitches. And so when you look at his breakdown of all of the different pitches that he throws, he does throw them a fairly even amount amongst all of them. And I think he's just got to kind of figure out which one of these breaking pitches is the dominant one today and not and try to figure that out as early as possible in the game. So he's like every ace. If you can get to him early, that's where you're going to do your damage. If you let him settle down, this is a guy that we know is going to pitch deep into games for us. The way he started out, the way that he kind of allowed runners throughout this game, I'm glad he got through 5. But I think as the season progresses, we're going to see that Nolan McLean is the horse of this staff that's going to go out there and throw 6 on a regular basis. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, he utilizes kick change a lot to left-handed batters, which is something he's been working on this spring, and it looked really good, honestly. That was, I thought, his best pitch against a lefty. His 2-seam fastball was the one that's kind of riding off. He was really not able to command that well today. I thought his kick change against a lefty looked really dominant, and he started throwing that a lot more throughout that game. Early on, he was a little hesitant to throw that, but as the game progressed, as you kind of just mentioned he kind of settled in. He really utilized that kick change a lot, specifically to left-handed batters, and I think that's going to be something that we're going to see a lot throughout this season, so just kind of take note of that, Met fans. At this point right now, back to the game, we're down 2-1. We get a Lindor triple, which, again, he didn't hit a triple all of last year. His last triple was in 2024. Hits the ball to right center. I thought that ball was gone. It winds up hitting off the fence, ricocheting a little bit. Lindor is able to get himself a triple. And then you got Juan Soto comes up with an RBI single. And so last year, the Mets killed Juan Soto for his lack of runners in scoring position hitting, especially early on. And we saw in this game twice, Soto coming through with runners in scoring position and getting that clutch RBI. And we've seen it actually throughout this series. I know we just killed him a second ago with the bases loaded, 1 out in that 10th inning, him not coming up. He obviously, didn't need to, he didn't need to swing at that ball.
Yeah. It's not like he
close.
swung and hit a dribbler up the line.
No.
He was trying to check his swing and he tapped the ball. It happens. It can't happen in that spot.
I know. I know. So he's looked so much better though with runners in scoring position, right? If you are sitting here listening to this pod and you're worried about Juan Soto, you need to worry about something else. There are a lot bigger issues on this team. Juan Soto is going to come through most of the time, if not majority of that time. And so he's able to get a single over here, and we'll talk about him later on in this game. And then Brazoban again comes in and throws a dominant sixth inning, 5 pitches in this inning. So now he's on back-to-back days. But again, in total, he's thrown about 11 pitches in these games. And thank God Mendoza, he probably heard it from some critics. He probably went home and said, man, maybe I should have brought him back out. And that's exactly what it does in this game. He winds up bringing Brazoban back out for the 7th inning. He gets the first 2 outs. And then he winds up then pulling him at that point. Now, O'Neal Cruz is coming up in that moment. And I know from Mendoza's perspective, why he's pulling Brazoban at that point, bringing in Sean Manaea, the lefty, is because last year O'Neal Cruz hit about 100 against lefties. Of course, what did he do? Manaea comes in, gives up a leadoff single to O'Neal Cruz. I know, dude. It's like comical, right? Like, it's like Mendoza, like, he's like, okay, whatever I'm thinking of doing, do the opposite, right? Because like he's like, this makes sense. This is the matchup. I want to have the lefty against O'Neal Cruz. This makes the most amount of sense. This is what the analytics are telling me, and it doesn't work out for him. And we've seen that so many times. It's almost like, what does the analytics say I should do? This? Maybe I should go with the opposite right now, because everything decision I make is usually the wrong one when it's managing the bullpen.
Here's my issue with this, and like I'll jump more into it when I talk about my big takeaway, a little preview of it. But like Sean Manaea coming in that spot doesn't make any sense to me. I don't care about lefty-lefty matchups. He's a starting pitcher.
I know.
You're having him come in, probably not getting the full warm-up that he typically does on a game day. With Sean Manaea, like I know he has experience pitching out of the bullpen. I understand that. It's not the same experience that he's been doing for years now. Like he's been a starter for us. You're expecting him to come in and pitch immediately with a runner on base. It's not fair to put him into that spot. Sean Manaea does end up settling down when he comes back out for the 8th inning. He gets 2 quick outs, walks, and then walks the next 2 batters. Right. So he's able to settle down, get the 2 quick outs, loses the strike zone again, walks 2 batters, but then he does end up getting out of the jam. Honestly, if it were me, I'd allow Sean Manaea to continue. Allow Sean Manaea to come back out there and continue in this game. You're in a tied game right now. You've got a starter on the mound who's thrown now 1 1/3 innings. Like, I don't understand the reason to pull him. Maybe the reason is because Sean Manaea's fastball looks like it has no gas still.
Yeah.
But that's what it is at this point. He's an 89-mile-an-hour pitcher. He throws his fastball at 89, 90 miles an hour. And if we're going to trust him at some point, why not allow him to go out and continue to pitch? Because what ends up happening in this game is you got Dickey Lovelady back on the mound, and I just don't understand.
Yeah, so the 9th inning, they get Weaver in there, right? And he throws a clean inning. And then, like you just said, again, now you're relying on Dickey Lovelady in extra innings with the Manfred man on second base. I don't understand why Devin Williams was unavailable in this game. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. It's clearly Mendoza managing for the next day. He's looking at his bullpen and saying, okay, I've used all of these guys. I've used my high leverage guys. Like Luke Weaver's not going to be available tomorrow. That's pretty clear. He's thrown now on back-to-back days. And I guess from Mendoza's perspective, he said, I got to have a couple of guys, these high-leverage guys that I can potentially use tomorrow against St. Louis. But you can't be managing like that. You need to be managing to win games right now. Devin Williams is clearly the best pitcher that you had available, and you are now going into a tough scenario in that 10th inning where you have a runner on second base to start out. I don't understand why Devin Williams was not in this game. Dickey Lovelady, you can't expect him to be coming in and making these big outs like this. He shouldn't even be on this roster. The fact that Dickey Lovelady has came in now in back-to-back games in the 10th inning or 11th inning is unacceptable, completely unacceptable by Mendoza. It's crazy.
He's going to get DFA'd today. That's what's going to happen.
That's a guarantee. He's throwing now back-to-back days. He will not be on this roster tomorrow. That's 100% correct. It's ridiculous that this is the guy that you're using in these extremely high leverage situations when you had your closer available. If Devin Williams doing the game and you're like, I don't know, let's go with Dickey, right? That's the only guy available. I can't kill you for that. But the fact that you allowed your closer to stay on the bench when you had your top of the order coming up in that bottom of the 10th inning, and if you just said, hey, if we just get it to 1 run, we probably could win this game, it's unacceptable. And Mendoza, again, he's gonna do so the entire year, right?
Yeah,
Like he's gonna do so the entire year, man. It's
not a bullpen manager. The Mets need to
no,
find some member of their coaching staff that actually understands how bullpens should be managed and allow that person to make the in-game
yeah,
decisions. Because
it's crazy.
Mendy for multiple years now, we're watching him completely mismanage the bullpen, and this game, it costs us a win.
It's crazy. So
Honestly,
Dickey, yeah,
real quick,
Dickey lets up. Yeah, he lets up 2 runs over here, and then we come in the bottom of the 10th. Go ahead, Stefan.
no, even if you don't want to go to Devin Williams in that moment because you're like, I need to save him for tomorrow. You know who you're not, like you just said it. You know who's not pitching tomorrow? Weaver. Weaver's also a starter. This
I
guy
know.
started. He can pitch multiple innings. You've got
Yeah.
so many guys in that bullpen that can pitch multiple innings. You need to use them, especially when Weaver's not going to be available tomorrow. Why not
Yeah.
let him go back out there and throw another inning, or at least try before you go to Dickey Lovelady?
Yeah, well, he threw. I know he didn't have a clean inning that in that ninth. He threw over 20 pitches, and I guess he threw the day before. From Mendoza's perspective, I can't kill him on that one because I get it. You don't want to tax these guys too much, especially early on in a cold game like it was again today. But I hear you, man. It's just it's
So you go to
frustrating
Dickey
that.
Lovelady in back-to-back
No,
days?
dude, yo, we're in lockstep, man. Like dude, 100%. I'm annoyed. Like I'm watching this game saying, I literally said to myself, I just wasted 2.5 hours of my life because they just put Dickey Lovelady into this game again. Like, are you serious? We're gonna lose this game. Like that's how annoyed I was. I'm like, I'm sitting down, I'm watching this game, I'm trying to enjoy my Sunday, and then Dickey Lovelady comes in again, and I'm like, dude, what, bro? What? You're playing with fire. You were literally playing with fire. It's only the third game.
All right.
So
Bring it
let's
home,
get
Justin. Wrap the
yeah,
game up.
let's get to the bottom of the 10th, right? This was, again, another frustrating situation. What's frustrating about this situation is that the day before, you didn't do what you just did today. Both scenarios didn't work out, right? Like with the Vientos single, you held up Brett Beatty, you didn't send him, and then the Mets like didn't score later on. In this scenario, the scenario was Lindor walks, you have the runner on second base, right? I think it's Alvarez at that point because yeah, the Mets wound up pitch hitting. Alvarez then comes into the game, so
Yeah.
he's the free runner at second base, right?
And
So
he has to be. If you're wondering why Francisco Alvarez wasn't pinch run for in that game, it's because the Mets have no backup catcher on.
yeah,
that
yeah,
team.
they have no catcher.
Like Francisco Alvarez was the backup catcher. He's now in the game.
Right.
If you pinch run for him, Tyrone Taylor is your catcher, I guess.
Right. So you got Alvarez at second. Lindor works a good at bat. He winds up walking. Soto then comes up, smokes the ball to left center. Right. I'm watching it with my dad. He's like, "Oh, that's a pop." I'm like, "No, it's not, dude." When Soto hits those like he's got like that backspin when it goes to left center, that ball just keeps traveling and going and going. I'm like, "Nah, dude, I think that's gonna hit the gap." Sure enough, it winds up like one hopping the wall. Alvarez scores. Lindor's like right behind him, right? So I guess like it from like the third base like coach Tim Leeper, you can't like kill him for it, and they do make a heck of a relay between the left fielder to the shortstop made a short hop pick on it, winds up making a strong throw and winds up getting Lindor out. But you got to think of that scenario where you would have second and third. You now tied up the game, second and third, no out. Your 3-4-5 hitter coming up. You can't send him there. And I know, obviously, if he scored, no one would be saying a word. And we'd all be like, yo, that was a great job. Way to send him. But the scenario is if he does get thrown out, you kind of kill the inning in that scenario. And that's exactly what happened. If you had second and third, no out with Bichette, Blanco, and Luis Robert coming up, you got to feel good about that in a tie game. It's not even like the Mets were down at that point. It was they wound up tying it up on that Soto double. So that's what was so frustrating about this game, man. Situationally, you got as a third base coach, you got to say to yourself, man, that's tantalizing to win this game right now. But like, I got to hold them up.
And he did it the day before. I think that point that you bring
that's
up
what
is
I'm
that
saying.
the day before you made the decision to hold them up. If you just did the same thing again, and then everything plays out exactly the same way. Let's say exactly what happens. Bo Bichette hits a ground ball to the shortstop. Lindor probably holds, probably doesn't go home. Yep. Okay, fine. Now it's 2 out. Now I'm sorry. Now it's 1 out. Right, because that was no outs in that moment. Jorge Polanco comes up and flies out to the right fielder. We score.
Game over. I know, man.
Well, game tied, but
yeah, so right. Yeah, they now make it 4-4. I don't know, man. I was a little frustrated in that scenario. And so, speaking of the Polanco hit, right? So I'm now watching this game. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe we're going to lose this game 4-3. Polanco comes up. I think it's first pitch. He hits it up. I jump up. I'm like, yo, that ball's gone. I'm like, no way. He just did this. Another walk-off. right fielder winds up backing up, gets to the fence, makes the catch, turns around to one of the fans. He's like barking at that guy a little bit. And the Mets will end up losing this game 4-3. You know, I think it's a heartbreak, honestly. I was
Yeah,
that was a
100%.
game I really thought they were gonna win,
Yeah,
honestly.
he hit
I
the ball
really did.
348 feet, and it did not
Yeah,
go
dude. And
out.
just like the swing, if you haven't seen it, like watch it, you're like, yo, that ball's out, right? Like
Yeah,
that. It he got ahead of it. I guess he just got off the end of his bat a little bit, and that's why the ball died out. But man, I thought that ball was gone. I
I'm with
really
you,
did.
man. I'm with you, man. So the Mets, like I agree with you. Heartbreaker is the way to describe it. We could be 3-0 right now on the series. We're not. We end up being 2 and honestly, we'll take it. We're happy about it. When we made predictions at the end of our opening day episode, last episode, that this is exactly what I predicted would happen. Peterson goes out, has a great game, matches zeros. It's a pitcher's duel out there. We win that game and we end up losing and a no decision for Nolan McLean, which is exactly what I said was going to happen. I wish I
You
was
did say
wrong.
that.
I wish I was wrong. I wish we were 3-0. But we're here. We're here. We're 2-1 on the season. We won a series, and that's what it's all about. If we win series, we're going to be a really, really good team.
No doubt. We'll get our winning streaks, right? We'll hit our 7, 8 in a row. If you can limit those losing streaks and you can keep just winning series, that's how all of a sudden you build up a 12, 15, 20 game over 500 record in baseball. And that's all you really kind of got to do throughout this season. You got to manage all these things, and you got to take series when they're available. And for the Mets against Pittsburgh at home opening weekend, you had to at least take 2 or 3 from them. No doubt.
All right, Justin, we said we were going to do a short episode. We're 43 minutes in. We're the worst. All right, let's go. Let's talk about our big takeaways from the overall series. You want to start off? You want me to start
Yeah,
off? How do you want to go?
I'll start off. Luis Robert, obviously, my big takeaway is that this guy looks like the real deal. He is a player, I think that, again, and I alluded to this earlier on in the podcast, that he needed to get out of Chicago. That was a dumpster fire over there. Just, I'm sure the morale couldn't be any lower, lack of motivation. I know these guys are professional, they're making money, but man, 162 game grind like that, you need a little bit extra sometimes. And so it's really nice to see Luis Robert on this team. He looks great defensively. Stefan, I know you were texting us in the chat, but some of the things that that's not going to show up in the box score from Luis Robert on that Saturday game was there was a bunch of fly balls to center field, middling fly balls that the runners for Pittsburgh held up instead of tagging up because of Luis Roberts' arm. And so, that is something also that he brings to the table, is that elite defense that he has. I know he made like a sliding catch also in this series. He looks great. He obviously had the game winner on Saturday, but more importantly, he's taking professional at bats. I think he only had like 1 strikeout on the series, but he looks locked in. He looks like someone that if he can be right, this will be a scary lineup. Luis Robert being in this lineup in the 5-hole, if he's going to hit the way that he's been hitting in this series, that's going to be a scary lineup.
We know Mendy loves lefty-righty matchups, right? Like he loves the lefty-righty switching in the lineup. And at some point, if Bo Bichette continues to go the way that he's going, maybe Mendy does tinker with the lineup a little bit. And where I think that ends up getting us is Lubob hitting 4, which I think would be, if he's going to hit the way he's hitting, I'd kind of like to see him in that spot. I can see the lineup change happening now, where you'll stick to Lindor batting 1, you'll go Bichette 2, give him the protection of Soto batting behind him in the 3-hole. And if that was the lineup in a lot of these spots, honestly, the Mets score a run here or there because Bo Bichette hits a sac fly where Juan Soto struck out a bunch or tap balls over. So Bo Bichette hitting in the 2-hole, Juan Soto in the 3-hole. I would put Lubob in the 4-hole because of the lefty-righty matchups that I think you're going to end up seeing. And I think that could be an interesting tinker to the lineup if we don't get Bo Bichette going in this upcoming series. I'd like to see something like that happen, just to try to shake things up for Bichette, get him a little bit of a different look batting with Juan Soto behind him.
Yeah, he had a terrible series, Bo Bichette. I think he was 1 for 14, but it wasn't even that.
He struck out like 9 times.
Yeah, dude, he looked overmatched. And like the big thing of why he was brought in is because he hits with runners in scoring position, and he was god awful. I thought he was a guy that's going to put the ball in play a lot, not going to strike out a lot. That's not what we saw early on. And so I know that it's just 3 games. You can't just kill these guys like early on like this. His stats will be his stats at the end of the year, but this is not the way that Bo Bichette wanted to get off. I'll tell you that much in his Met career.
No, Met fans, give him the time to figure it out. I don't know that I fully support the booing of this guy right now. It's the first series of the year, guys. Let's give him a minute to get adjusted here. Everybody takes a minute to get adjusted here.
Yeah,
Everybody's not going to be Luis Robert, who's clearly not taking a minute. He's crushing it. All right, my big takeaway, Justin, and I talked about it throughout, so I won't dive super deep into everything because I do think I addressed it. It's Mendy's management of the bullpen, right? Joey Bo came onto the pod, gave us that little tidbit, and he talked about it. The mismanagement of this bullpen is a huge, huge concern for us. I'm actually going to start on the wall right here, right next to me, a little like a ticker that I'm gonna have where I'm gonna mark down every single time the Mets lose a game because Mendy mismanaged the bullpen. And today's game is one of them, right? Yesterday's game would have been one of them also if the Mets didn't end up pulling that game out. I would have been on here screaming about how we lost it because he pulled Brazoban when he did. So I'm going to mark it down here. Mendy's going to get one strike right now because he screwed up this game with his management of the bullpen. I'm nervous about it. I was nervous about it all of last year. Dickey Lovelady cannot be in the positions that we're putting him in. And I mentioned this briefly already. I'd like to really start to see the Mets use the guys that we have in the bullpen that have the ability to throw multiple innings separately from one another on different days. You've got Luke Weaver who can throw multiple innings. You got Brazoban. He can throw multiple innings. Manaea can throw multiple innings. And Tobias Myers can throw multiple innings. If you start your starter, let him go 5 to 6 innings, 7 innings if he's dealing, and then you bring in one of these guys. Let's say it's Brazoban comes in. And you let Brazoban throw 2 innings, 3 innings, you are now getting your bullpen to the spot where you can hand the ball off to Devin Williams for the save. And you can do that with at least 3 of these guys. If you want to use Luke Weaver as the holds guy, the 8th inning guy, the setup man, or the closer when Devin Williams is not available, all right, fine. You can still do it with 3 of the guys in the bullpen that can throw you 2 to 3 innings, if not more than that. We have to start utilizing the piggybacks more often, especially right now when our guys are out there throwing 5 to 6 innings. There's no reason not to throw multiple innings with Brazoban like they did with Tobias Myers. What they did with Tobias Myers is exactly what we need to be doing with Sean Manaea and with Brazoban.
Yeah, I can't believe Sean Manaea didn't come out didn't pitch the 9th inning. What? Save Luke Weaver for that 10th inning if you need it.
It's a tied game.
I know.
It's a tied game. If we were losing, fine. If we were winning, fine. It's a tied game. You have a starter on the mound in the 8th inning who's thrown 1 1/3 innings. Let him go out for the 9th. He gives up a hit, pull him. All right. I digress. I'm done. All right. Where are we at right now, Met fans? Let's close this one out. The Mets right now, it's early. We're 1 series into the game, but let's take a look at the standings really quickly. The Miami Marlins are 3-0. Right? We knew that this Miami Marlins team is a team to watch. They were really good last year. They finished not really good, but their overall record wasn't really good, but they're a scrappy team. They've got some good hitters on that team, and right now they're 3-0. I'd be very, very nervous about this team. Do I think they're ultimately the best team in our division? No, but they're a scrappy team, and right now they are the best team in the division. The Mets, the Nats, the Braves.
Can I just say one thing though? They also played the Rockies.
All right, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Let's not crown them this great team.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying they're 3-0.
The Rockies.
We played the Pittsburgh Pirates, Justin, and we didn't sweep.
Dude, Paul Skeens is legit. Pittsburgh is a good team.
We crushed Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens pitched one. He pitched 2/3 of an inning. Don't give me Paul Skeens.
Listen to me. If you want to put a little side wager on whether or not Pittsburgh or Colorado has a better season, I'm willing to take that with you. Pittsburgh is a much better team than freaking Colorado Rockies. They're going to be historic, and I'm not saying historically good. I'm saying historically bad, Stefan.
You think they're going to be worse than Chicago was?
Dude, probably. They're a joke. And again, we're fantasy guys. Name 2 starting pitchers for Colorado.
Man, I thought you were going to say offensive players. I got nothing.
Name 1.
No, I got nothing.
Dude, I am like a geek with fantasy. Like
I got nothing. None of them would be on my team. None of them would be on my team. None of them would be on my team.
That's what I mean. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All
right, fine.
Ezekiel Tovar. Got him. Fine. Shortstop. Cool. No who he is.
Well, I thought you were going to say offensive players. You said pitchers. I'm like, can't name a single one. All right.
All right. So Miami's 3-0. Fine. Good. We got the Mets, Nats, and we got the Braves are all 2-1. I think the Nats are a little bit of a surprise over there. Again, they were talking about they're going to be horrific. But give them credit. They went out and they won 2 of 3
against the Cubs.
against a Cubs who people are predicting the Cubs going to the World Series, right? Like people are saying they're going to come out of the National League. That's how good they think the Cubs are going to be. So give them a lot of credit. The Braves have won some crazy games, some crazy walk-offs in this series against they're playing the
Royals.
Royals, I believe,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And then Philly, they're 1-2. They lost to the Rangers. Jesus Luzardo got smoked today, let up 6 earned runs. A little Brandon Nimmo home run against him. A little former Met over there against the Phillies again.
I got him on my
But
fantasy
you know
team.
what? Again, yeah. Listen, we'll take it. The Mets are now 2-1. They're tied for second in their division. Miami, world beaters, Rockies. Can't wait for the Mets to play them.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Rockies, yes. I don't want to see the Mets playing the Miami Marlins.
No,
Keep me away from
God,
them.
I can't stand that. Are we probably playing them the last series of the regular season again? It
Would you be
always is.
shocked? Would you be shocked?
Yeah,
Of course
it
you would.
always is, and it's a total joke, honestly. And the Mets. All right, as Stefan's looking that up, we have our next series coming up against the Cardinals. First game will be tomorrow at 7:45. We are playing in St. Louis, so the Mets don't really get an off day. They had an earlier game today, a 1:40 start. They're already at this point. They're probably already in St. Louis. You got Clay Holmes against Kyle Leahy. That's our pitching match on Monday. Then you got Senga against Palante, and then you got Peralta against Matthew Liberatore. Predictions, Stefan? What are you thinking over here?
Before I give the prediction, I'm super happy to report, Met fans, that the last time the Mets play the Miami Marlins is September 9th. We play them the 7th, 8th, and 9th of September, and then we play the Yankees after them, which will be, that's great. Yankee Stadium in September. That's going to be September 11th game, by the way.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Nice job, baseball. Finally. They should be doing that every single year. We should be July 4th and we should be September 11th. Every single year, those should be the 2 series, right, for the Mets, Yankees. Easy, lock it up. That is, I don't understand. Like,
We'll debate ideas on the pod the first time we play the Yankees, but I have an idea. I think I've told you it. You've told me that idea before. They're both pretty good ideas.
Smart. Be smarter. Be smarter.
We got to make sure that happens. I'd love to see an odd number of games between the Mets and the Yankees that culminates on September 11th. Right, so like game 5 of a series, or 7-game series, whatever it is, but where the last game of the series is played on September 11th. Something like that. That would be great. All right. Let's close this one out. My prediction for the Mets against the St. Louis Cardinals, for what it's worth, I think the Cardinals are also 2-1 right now.
They are.
I'm going to say the Mets get a Clay Holmes win, a Senga win, and a Freddie Peralta loss. And that I don't necessarily mean that those pitchers are winning or losing the games. I just mean the games they're pitching in, the Mets will win with Clay Holmes on the mound, win with Senga on the mound, and lose with Peralta. We take the series.
Yeah, I like the clean sweep. I think the Mets are going to take care of business, baby.
All right.
I like Clay Holmes. He's looked great in the World Baseball Classic. He looked great in spring training. Senga looks like his old self, if not better, in terms of his stuff. His fastball 1 or 2 miles per hour faster. And I think Peralta's going to have a bounce back. He really had a bad opening day. Let's call a spade a spade. The Mets wound up winning that, but he didn't throw the ball well. And so I think the Mets are going to sweep this up. They're going to, I think, take care of business. I think the offense hopefully will be a little bit warmer in St. Louis than it was here in New York this weekend. And I think that's just going to help some of our boys.
Bring the brooms to St. Louis, Met fans. Let's go. All right. All right, Met fans. That's it. We're done. 55 minutes in. Make sure
you want to give a little shout out for our next episode of what's happening over here?
All right. I'll say it. I don't know. It's pretty much locked in. We've booked it. I'm hoping it's gonna happen. I'll make sure I follow up with him. If it doesn't happen, forgive us. But you guys might not know this name, but you definitely know this voice. On the next episode of Meet the Mets Fans, which we're going to record tomorrow night, Monday night, we're going to get Colin Cosell, who's going to join us for an interview on the podcast. Colin Cosell is the PA announcer at Citi Field. So if you've ever been to Citi Field, you've heard his voice announcing pretty much every single batter, every single time they come up to bat. You've heard Colin Cosell. He's really funny dude. He's been a comedian in the past. He does a ton of different things. He's got a grandfather who's a Hall of Famer. You might have heard of him, Howard Cosell. But this is an amazing opportunity for us as a podcast to get yet another awesome connection to the New York Mets joining us on the podcast for a feature interview. We'll learn all about what he does for the New York Mets, what it's like being a PA announcer, and the inside on all of that. His fandom, we'll learn a little bit more about that. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun and interesting one.
That's a plug, baby. We just plugged it. I love that.
Well,
All right, Met fans.
let's hope it happens.
Hey, Met fans, if you're not following, if you haven't subscribed, if you're not liking stuff, you're doing the wrong thing over here, okay? Let's get this pod and let's get this thing blowing up. I want this thing trending for no reason whatsoever besides the New York Mets are playing baseball right now, so let's trend this podcast out.
We out. Let's go Mets.
Meet the Mets fans, voices rising up from the stands. Hear their cheers, hear their groans, feel their highs, feel their moans. Stories untold now on the mic. Mets fans unite.